you think there would have been any way these policies would have been implemented without having these much inflationary pressures?
In retrospect, the subsidy removal or the drastic reforms should have been stepwise, should have been gradual.
Right.
So take this volume, absorb that, consume that, go to the next level, so that you get people to be able to adapt to it.
Yeah.
The one-off has happened, you can't do anything about that again.
Right.
But the cushioning effect is very important.
Yeah.
Whether there is enough now, I don't think I can boldly say that.
Yeah.
When subsidy removals was done, there should be, like you said, proper strategy of having like transport vouchers.
Yeah.
For people that will live from Guagalada or from Idumota or from somewhere, to go to work. There are no public transports. There are no trains that are cheap. People go on commercial vehicles, and those commercial vehicles buy the fuel from them. So you don't have that cushioning effect. Two, you don't see the gains from the subsidy removals.
Right.
Before subsidy, we were hearing quarterly that subsidy was moved to 2 trillion, 4 trillion. Yes. Assuming those monies come back, yes, we've removed, government is recovering them, and they're putting them on roads, they're putting them on electricity supply, putting them on healthcare, and some of these public hospitals, some of these public roads that you can use. So you see farmers, workers, people can easily commute very easily. So you see that bringing some impact. Through that too, people can get their small jobs, meaning SMEs and all that, can produce their things and all that. So income level will improve. And if it improves, you see that aggregate demand builds up. That fits into those that are going to be supplying those things. So, because even if you have those that are producing things and don't have buyers, then you see that it will also deflate that and job losses will come. But if the income level is improved because of these amenities that are public amenities provided from the gains of the subsidy, then you start seeing, pick up. But I'm not seeing much of that. I know government is doing a lot. There are a lot of interventions and all that. But those institutional weaknesses, when I mean institutional weaknesses, I mean the processes, the bureaucracy, the retapism, the corruption, the leakages, the favoritism, and all that come into that is distorting, the positive outcome that everybody is expecting.
There's also the argument that even the cash transfers could be a question. What do you have to say about that need for that coordination between the monetary and fiscal side?
The coordination is extremely very important, and the coordination is in terms of policy direction.
Right.
Coordination is not necessarily the individuals or the institutions.
Right.
Because institutions are supposed to be independent, doing the right thing, but towards a common goal.
Right.
The instruments and tools that the central bank uses is different from the fiscal. So everybody should be allowed to use its own tools efficiently and independently based on their internal arrangement. So I'm not, there shouldn't be a compromise in that. And that gives more transparency to the entire process. But what is important is that both parties have a common goal. Common goal does not mean that all of them must target the same thing. Common goal means that the tools that are going to be used to address those final outcome are targeted such that if government is spending, for example, coming out of a recession, or there's need for intervention and support, all this cash transfer and all that, you bring a lot of liquidity within the system. The central bank is supposed to come in to ensure that that liquidity does not become inflationary. So it gets to it, so they have to agree at what threshold they will come in. Common agreement. Central bank is part of the government, just like the fiscal. So it's not really antagonistic in their approach, but it should be such that what the central bank is doing is complementing what the fiscal is doing towards the common goal for the economy. If we are looking at growth, for example, as our primary objective as a nation, yes, growth will come, but there's a level of inflation that will be deterring growth. So monetary authorities should be able to know that threshold and hold the inflation number so that the growth numbers can be achieved. But where you have, everybody going its own way, federal government is spending, pushing small liquidity into the system. Central bank is injecting a lot of liquidity within the system. through maybe the sellout of homos and all that. You're selling instruments to financial institutions to bring in money into the system. So you see, that will not be complementary.
Right.
Yeah, so the coordination and collaboration should be such that it is towards achieving a common goal. And I see some of that going on now, but in periods of crisis, which we're in semi-crisis now, there's need for proper communication and establish institutional processes to enable that happen.
In line with these issues that you mentioned, what will be the ideal strategy towards tackling these rising inflation, especially due to when these conventional approaches are not seen to be quite effective?
I think it should be the adoption of both conventional and unconventional approach. I should emphasize is that the structural issues, there should be deliberate efforts to address them very quickly. Energy, supply, electricity and power generation, other infrastructure, roads, security is very critical. If those issues are addressed, the forces of demand and supply will enable the efficient distributions of goods and services, and we start seeing improvement in the economy. The central bank on its own side must also be very effective on the demand management side. We know demand management is a temporary procedure, but more effective, and also focus on identifying the thresholds of where to hold or where to lose, such that this negative impact we're seeing does not further deteriorate the welfare gains for the populace. That will also include improving this infrastructure to drive agricultural manufacturing for export, so they have inflows of FX for the central bank to be able to do its job. Moderate the borrowing, excess borrowing, because these are things that we need to pay back, and if we don't have sources of paying back, then you start seeing severe taxes and all that, which will have negative impact on the economy and also reduce prospects to growth. So my final words around this is, one, critical look at this infrastructure development, factors that will drive growth, even if it's in the services sector, or innovations or startup, to create jobs, to make the growth process more inclusive. A lot more people are participating in the growth process, and then the central bank will comfortably be able to do its own side of the equation.